So this is taking all the internet data in real time and going, what do we know that makes up the construction industry?
Wow. Hey, innovators. Welcome to That Product Market Fit Guy YouTube podcast, a community where we talk all things product market fit. My name is Trevor Holmes, and I'm just a guy that really loves to see innovation succeed. And today, I'm really excited because over the past few episodes, I've been talking about this market guru, Linda Ginger, and she's here with me today. Welcome, Linda. Great to have you along.
Thank you, Trevor. Great to be here.
We've got a really exciting event happening today on this episode. In some of the past episodes, I've been letting people know that you're going to be on and showing us how these AI tools help us find the right product market fit markets and sub-markets for them to enter into. So pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
Hey, before we get started, they already know you're a market guru. I've already said that. But let's get into really what market's about. I'd love you to share with the viewers what it is that you see are the most critical elements to get to know about markets.
Okay, well, actually, I'm a bit passionate about markets, as you know. I just find them fascinating. They're almost like living organisms. So there's some critical things about markets that everyone should know about. And the first thing is probably that markets are made up of a lot of smaller markets, which we call sub-markets. Markets also usually comprise lots of competitors. Some will be big incumbents, and then there'll be others that, are smaller competitors that might only just serve one of those sub-markets. And then the third thing I would say is that every part of a market, all those sub-markets, they all don't need, want, value, or care about the same thing.
That's right.
So they're very nuanced.
Yeah, they can have lots of variations. I mean, what a big corporate wants and needs and values is going to be very different to, the small business or individuals, or even in consumer markets. There's lots of variations, isn't there?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So, I've been really hard at work coming up with a hypothetical
I love
it. Of this, because obviously we can't use any of our projects that we've worked on because they're all very confidential. So I came up with this hypothetical, Linda. Do you want me to show you what I came up with?
Excellent. I'd love to. You know that I always think there's never such a thing as a bad idea. Okay, so give it to me.
Okay. Well, let me just set up and share the screen. So, Linda, my brilliant idea. This came about the other day. I was observing a construction site next door to us, and there was a big argument between, obviously, the boss and one of his staff, who had left a very vital tool back at the workshop. So he was very angry, and he sent the young guy home in the van, which it sounded like it was going to take him an hour or an hour and a half to go back to the shed and get the right tool. And I thought, okay, this is a really good one for a bit of a hypothetical. So my idea, Linda, is to create a tradesperson's tool management system that allows a tradesperson to export a job description into the platform, which in turn identifies every single tool they need to have to do that specific job. The trader can arrive at the depot each morning with their work schedules and for the day, and basically organize all the different containers. They've got all the tools there ready to go for them. And I even went through, because in the last episodes, Linda, we've done a lot of emphasis around jobs to be done. The previous one was just about the unmet needs. And I looked at all the jobs to be done. Well, there's so many, but just as for this hypothetical, um, some of the jobs to be done, provide only the tools that are necessary to perform each job, to organize them, per job to create efficiency in performing that task. I don't know if you've ever seen tradies looking around in their trucks trying to find the right tools. You know what I mean?
Not every
Um,
day, Trevor. No, I don't.
no, no, true, true. Um, but to really just to create efficiencies and also I found that there's when we get to the unmet needs here, some of the problems that they have is that for every truck that they set up to go out and do multiple maintenance jobs or trade jobs, they've got to have all the tools there. So, they may only use some of those very expensive tools once every 10 jobs or something. Um, and it often requires a tradesperson, if they've forgotten something, like in that scenario,
Mhm.
to have to go back to the warehouse or the shed and pick up a tool, which, wastes a lot of money. And it means that they've got to purchase all the stocks for every single van, just in case on a rare occasions they need that particular tool. I also thought about, well, who would be my ideal customer? Well, those that have got a real large variety of the types of jobs that they need to get done, and trades that do multiple jobs a day. Obviously, if you're set up on a big construction site and you've got a big shed with all the tools there, this wouldn't be applicable. But, where you're doing multiple jobs a day, that's what we need to do. So there's the idea.
Yeah, no, that
Um,
sounds a great idea.
well, yeah, and I will say, Linda, if any of the viewers are out there saying, you know what, we could build this, well, they can attach contact you and I, and we'll just take a small royalty on the idea, huh?
I love it.
But how could you help us? How if I'm an innovator with this brilliant idea, how could you help me find the right product market fit market
Okay,
or
well,
sub
look,
market?
uh, you know, every idea, and let's say the traditional way that I would have helped out is we sometimes have, or startups, innovators have this great vision, and it's being able to chunk it back down. So, fabulous idea, and you've got this idea that it's for the construction industry. Now, the construction industry is a huge industry, right?
Yeah,
So
very big.
we've got to somehow or another find a small part of the market that we can get it out there first and validate it, for example. Because there's no sense once you're marketing to everyone in the construction industry, you're not marketing to anyone. So what
Yeah,
traditionally we
true.
would have done is, a whiteboard, post-it notes, and some quite a bit of time to actually try and help us identify who in the construction industry, what type of sales, what sort of tradesperson would more likely use it rather than thinking that. So, so we would traditionally have really done it sort of the long way around it, which is always
Yep.
usually a lot of fun. But, not only is it time consuming, but you're really fearful that you've missed something critical. So
Yeah,
I
that's
love
always
how
a
we do
worry.
it now.
Yeah,
It's much more, I guess it gives you a bit more security that you're confident that you're actually not missing anything. And it certainly is a lot faster.
excellent. All right. Well, why don't we take a look at the tools that
Yeah.
you use? We've got the criteria there. So while you're setting that up, you know,
Yeah, and I
um,
think that's really important. It's great that you've taken the time to do that. I know that you actually help facilitate getting some of that information extracted too, because a lot of innovators haven't actually thought through those unmet needs,
yeah,
and what the job that it does, and they have a broad idea of what the market they're going into. So this really helps us just really get down to into a much more granular place. So I'm just firing up Quanix now. Um,
beautiful.
and I think I heard you mention that, you think it's great for the construction industry. So, the first thing we do is just to type in that we want to look at the construction market, and we want to understand what are all the sub-markets that make up this construction market. There we go. So we've got our first little first little node, and I'm just asking Quanix now to bring back all of the submarkets that from the internet. So this is taking all the internet data in real time and going, what do we know that makes up the construction industry?
Wow.
So there's a whole lot of different submarkets, and how within a few seconds we can actually get those submarkets, and then we can start going and exploring to go, and you'll probably have a better idea. We go, okay, Trevor, so out of these submarkets, and we can delete them as we go, but just for the sake of this exercise, I think we'll just identify them and we can show you how it works. So within that broader construction market, is there any particular market or submarket that you think?
Yeah, I mean, given the jobs that I think it does, it's definitely going to lend to more of the specialty trade contractors.
Okay.
Yeah, as opposed to the big construction site type things.
Okay, cool. Okay.
So then we go again.
Yep. And now I'm just asking Quanix to bring back to me what makes up the specialty trade contractor market. So what are all the submarkets that make that up? And you can see there we've got, oh my goodness, we've got lots of things like electrical, drywall. You could actually, there's a lot of places this could go, Trevor. But you've now got to start lining up which trades you think are going to most benefit given those unmet needs, etc. So tell us how you'd go about doing this. So you're the domain expert now, so you're going to guide me.
Well, I mean, knowing that it's part of the criteria, the jobs to be done, the unmet needs, the frustrations, and the ideal client, it was pretty obvious. So I actually did some looking on the internet, and I found that electricians, plumbers, and HVAC jobs, they actually have to carry the most number of tools.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
they're the ones that need to be more organized, or?
Well, you would think so. I mean, if I'm running a plumbing business and, I've got 5 or 10 trucks, if I've got to do 5 or 6 jobs a day, then I've got to have every single tool in there. And that's a big expense out of my pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah.
So we could eliminate a few of these, because I can see there's an electrical contractor here, and there is also plumbing, heating, and air conditioning contractors.
Yes. And look, I do think that, some of those other ones could be beneficial further down the track. But we're talking about, market entry. So I do like those ones.
Okay, so I would normally eliminate all those ones and just leave the 2 that you want to focus on. So I'm thinking, given what you've said, I mean, we can actually look at what the submarkets are of plumbing, heating, and air conditioning contractors, for example.
Brand. Given the time, that we've got here, Linda, I think what we've been able to disclose now, obviously, I was playing the part of an innovator with the domain expertise. That's why I've come up with the idea. But in reality, we do this in a live environment, and sometimes we take quite a period of time, Linda, don't we? It's like an hour and a half.
Yeah, and sometimes it's trying to iterate. Yeah, and we're always iterating to try and get the right response. So
excellent. Well, I think that's probably enough for our viewers to understand just how rapidly we can explore these markets, and how accurately we can bring them up as to what consists within those submarkets, isn't it?
That's right, exactly. Yeah, no, it's much faster, and I know that we probably spend half the time in going and using Quanix to have a look at several markets, because you might know another market. There might be construction, there might be another market that you have the idea to. So we do spend a fair bit of time, and it actually is quite a bit of fun.
Yep, excellent. So Linda, that's been a great example. Maybe if you could just close your sharing there, and we'll wrap it up for today, because this leads into the next episode actually, which I'm going to have you back on. I have mentioned that, you know, to the viewers that you will be co-hosting from time to time, even though
Sure.
you're not actually the product market fit guy.
No,
You're
I'm
definitely a
definitely not the
gal.
guy, but I can be
But
the gal if you like.
yeah, but I know you'll be helping me out with some of this hosting as we get more guests in other fields on board, and there'll be some great topics that your expertise will lend to. So
Yeah,
for all
thanks, Trevor.
those viewers, if you enjoyed this, make sure you do subscribe. What you've seen here today is something that you may want to share with your friends in the innovation world, particularly startups, because the more people we get to that understand these jobs, that, as we've always said, the jobs remain the same, but how we do them today is changing rapidly, and therefore it's incumbent on us to inform other startups that they and innovators that, yeah, there's a quick, rapid fire way to do this and find your product market fit. So we hope you've all enjoyed seeing Linda and meeting and seeing what she can do with the AI tools. And we look forward to seeing you next time in the episodes. Thank you all.